Hi everyone, welcome to Becky's Crafts and Goodies. Now today we are going to decorate this little lump of wood. It's just a piece of wood that I got from my mum's house and we're going to decorate it. So it's a simple craft to do and it's something that's really easy and hopefully it'll give you a bit of inspiration to have a go and doing it yourself. Right, so to start with, what we're going to do is to sand a little bit of it down. Now, I want it to look quite rustic and I want it to look that way, but some things are a little bit jagged and I'll just want to get rid of some of these sort of pointy, sharp bits. So the size bit of wood that you want, it's a quarter, and you need to have a bit at the bottom that's quite flat like that, and then a bit of an edge that you can see, sort of, so you can see it when it sort of stands up. But I'm just going to sand this down and just to get rid of the sharp bits, and then we'll start and decorate it. Right, so it's not made a huge difference, but I can see the difference with it and it just looks a little bit neater, but you want it to still look rustic. Now I've picked out a piece of rice paper that I'm going to put over the top, and with this what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the bit of wood first. And you don't have to do that, but sometimes with napkins especially, they do go quite transparent and you have to be careful of what colour's underneath. It will be okay because they're a similar colour, but I've chosen to paint just this section just so when it goes on I know that you'll be able to see the picture and it will stand out quite nicely. So I've got a bit of old paint here. As you can see, it's a really similar colour because that's what I wanted. I'm just going to paint this front bit. I'm not painting the sides because I want it to look like wood, and I just think it will help with when the actual rice paper's on. So I'm just going to give this one coat, that's all, let that dry, and then we'll stick on the rice paper over the top. But napkins will be absolutely fine for this as well. Right, so that's dry. As you can see, you can barely notice any difference between the colours. So what I'm going to do is to get some Mod Podge. I'm going to use Mod Podge this time. I also like the Fairy Chic Emporium matte finish, but Mod Podge is really good. I generally use the matte Mod Podge because it gives a nice sort of flat finish. You can get satin and some that go sort of shiny and sort of gloss ones, but I do like, you know, the matte look. Look at that, look. Can you see? I love pulling bits off like that. Right, so this bit's going to go on here. I'm not going to cut any of the rice paper off to start with because I can just do that at the end. But I'll just pour a little bit of this in the lid. It saves you dunking the brush in a whole pot. And if you've got, say, some bits of wood or a different colour, if you put it in your glue pot, then you're going to sort of contaminate the whole pot. So that's why I always pour it in the lid. It's a good habit to get into. So we're just going to glue the whole front of this. You can use PVA glue if you want to, but I would water it down a bit just so it's not so thick. But it would work, you know, it would work fine. Right, so once you've got the whole of the front covered, make sure you get the edges as well because it could lift up at the edges. You get your bit of rice paper and pop it over the top and then just push it down, and it's nice because you can see the wrinkly bits of the wood coming through, which I think is pretty cool. And then what we need to do is to let that dry for a little while. Now because it's actually rice paper, it will take another little bit of the Mod Podge over the top. If this was a napkin, then I would not go over the top of it again. I'd let it dry first. But because it's rice paper, it's stronger and it will sort of withstand you doing it a little bit. So what I've got to do now is just leave this to dry and then we'll take these edges off. Right, so this is all dry now, and what we're going to do now is just take these bits off from around the edge. So you just get yourself a nail file like this, and all you do is just go in sort of sweeping movements and do it away. Don't rub it like that because you'll lift up the bit of rice paper. So do it so as you're pushing it away, and that gives you a really nice clean edge. I think if you were to try and cut that, it would be really, really hard to do. But as you can see there, it's giving you a nice edge around. So I'm going to go around and do the rest of it, and I want to try and keep a bit of detail on this top bit as well. So as I do this top bit, I want to try and keep the bark bit so you can see it all the way around, and then once we've done that, we'll just seal it. Right, so there we go. And what I'm going to do is Mod Podge it now, and I'm also going to put some glitter over the top because I think that will look quite nice. You could also do a really, really cute Christmas scene. Obviously Christmas is looming upon us, so you could make a few of these up. You could maybe give some of these as presents. Maybe if money's a little bit tight this year, you can make a few of these up, buy some napkins. It'd look really nice as a winter snowy scene. Also, you could put some lights around it, you know, the little battery ones that you can get. So that would be quite nice. And these would make great sort of cheap Christmas decor. There we go. So that's all covered. And I'm just going to use some of the Nouveau glitter. This is the one that I like. I've got my piece of paper underneath, so it'll just catch any sort of sprinklings and we can pop it back in the tub. So I'll put this over the top. We'll shake off any excess. And once you've taken off the excess glitter, just leave it to dry. Here we go. So this is it completely finished. If you wanted to seal the top of the glitter, then you could just spray over maybe some varnish or something like that. I wouldn't probably seal it with a Mod Podge because sometimes that dulls down the glitter. But I hope I've inspired you to have a go. And as you can see, all I've done is just put some pearls over the top there. You could also put some lights maybe around it. That would look quite cool. And I think if you were going to do a Christmassy design, they'd look really nice by the fireplace, and just add a little bit extra for decorations at Christmas time. So that's it for me. I hope I've inspired you to have a go and do something yourself. If you haven't already subscribed, then please do. And you take care of yourself, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.